Take another call later. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other calls? So I will put Andrew Little.
Chairman, I just want to take the opportunity to talk on this bill because it is an important piece of legislation, and it is one of the expressions of our role and our place as an international player, as a member of the international community, and indeed our place in the international or the operations of the international finance community. And that places us in a very important position. We've had a long and august history in the operations of the IMF, including former ministers of finance and indeed a Prime Minister having played an active role at the very senior levels of it. But, sir, it's important that with the international institutions of which we are a part, that we maintain our currency and that our laws reflect the commitments and the obligations that we enter into when we're part of that international community. And so this legislation brings us up to speed. But as colleagues of mine have also raised and questioned, the issue is why now? Why so long after these changes were agreed to by the IMF are we now only getting around to passing the legislation that enables them or enables us to support the practical changes? And it does raise a very serious question just about the efficacy of the management of the legislation and the way this government addresses these important issues. We should never devalue or deride the international organisations that we are a part of and in which we play an important part. And so it is reasonable to expect that when the government of the day is making commitments or entering into commitments on our behalf, that we will update and upgrade the rules that we have to participate in those organisations, that they do so with some sort of political and parliamentary alacrity. But that's not what we've seen on this occasion. The other issue is the issue about the extent to which this Parliament, as any Parliament of any member organisation of the IMF, gets to play the role of scrutinising what happens in those institutions in the name of the citizens, in this case of New Zealand. And so to the extent that it is suggested that future changes to the rules or the rules of the IMF might be agreed to and ratified or done by order in council, by the government, by the executive, that is something that I think every member of the House discharging their responsibilities as a member of this House would be deeply uncomfortable with. That when it comes to playing in international fora, although we must be responsible, although we must discharge our obligations, it is not a reason to also or to then take away the proper scrutiny of this House in discharging its role and its responsibilities towards the citizens of New Zealand to ensure that the commitments that we enter into are ones that we ought properly to put our name to and that fit our view and our version of democracy and democratic principles and indeed are consistent with what we think ought to be contributed to a stable international finance system. So, sir, with those notes, I simply underscore those two issues, the one of us playing our role, but secondly, ensuring that this House continues to play its role of providing scrutiny when the government of the day acts with its representative international hat on in the name of all citizens and in the name of this House, that this House continues to provide effective scrutiny for it. So, sir, notwithstanding our support of the bill, it is important to draw attention to those important points.
Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr Chairman, Labor is supporting this bill, although, as you will have heard, there's a discussion to go.